Welcome to another video, guys. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about Sagittarius. So we're ending the fire series, um, and then we shall begin Earth next. So we already did Aries and Leo, and now we're doing Sagittarius. So in terms of Sagittarius, Sagittarius is ruled by the ninth house. Um, the ninth house is the ending of fall time or autumn, right? In the uh Western, well, it's the same thing anyway. It's just when everyone has their timing, that's pretty much the time. So whenever the ending of fall is, or let's say the beginning of spring, that will be Aries, right? The middle of spring will be Taurus, and then the ending of spring would be Gemini. So that's how it goes. But that varies depending on what geographical location you're in. But I digress. So ninth house is Sagittarius, the ending of fall time or the ending of autumn before getting into winter time, which will be Capricorn, cardinal Earth. So in terms of Sagittarius, let's talk about that. So the season is ending of fall, ruled by the ninth house. The ninth house has to do with traveling, either externally or internally. So whether you're traveling physically to different geographical locations, different quantum field, or you're doing that internally, philosophy and traveling to different dimensions or different realities and different imaginations to come up with something, right? That's what the ninth house has to do with. It also has to do with teaching, because once you capitalize that imagination by traveling internally or traveling externally, now you can either preach or teach someone about your experiences. You know what I mean? Sagittarius is all about experiences and all about traveling. So once you can conceptualize your traveling, now you can teach that experience to other people so that they can be prepared for when they go into that experience also. So Sagittarius love experiences. It's ruled by the planet Jupiter, right? So Jupiter has to do with expansion. You know what I mean? So if you're traveling, so Gemini will be more like traveling from city to state or different states and different cities, while Sagittarius will be more like traveling to different countries and different continents. You know what I'm saying? Same thing internally. Gemini might just be talking about, day to day mundane things and traveling, internally in terms of just, mundane things and talking like day to day things. While Sagittarius will be more of the grander scheme of things, the greater sphere of things, things that are, um, I'll guess, out of certain bounds. You're extending out of different spheres of reality. You're traveling to greater spheres of reality, greater spheres of geographical locations within yourself. So that's what Sagittarius like to do. You know what I'm saying? So like a Sagittarius moon might like to travel internally, while a Sagittarius sun would like to travel externally. You know what I mean? Because the sun has to do with the outer world and the moon has to do with the inner world. So those are things like that. I'll get deeper into suns and moons in a different video, but we're just breaking down the archetypes of Sagittarius. So it's ruled by Jupiter, right? While um, Pisces is ruled by Jupiter and co-ruled by Neptune. So this is just Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter likes to expand whatever it's experiencing. So whatever you're doing, they like to expand it. Sometimes Sagittarius might exaggerate. You know what I mean? They might exaggerate certain experiences or exaggerate certain perceptions. You know what I mean? So it's very important that you still learn how to ground things. You know how to use the opposite, which is the Gemini, that um opposite archetype, where sometimes you want to expand and sometimes you want to come back to earth and come within the local field, so you don't just seem like you're just too out of, you're out there. You know what I mean? People might think you're too crazy. So you want to learn how to balance things. Just like how with Libra, you want to learn how to be fair and balanced, and then sometimes you have to learn how to be individual, like Aries. So it's the same thing. So in terms of Sagittarius, they're ruled by Jupiter, so they like to expand either their experiences or expand their mind, whether through philosophy, learning about different cultures, learning about different perspectives. That is more of the Sagittarius energy. They also don't like to be confined. That's why they're expensive. So once you create a cage on a Sagittarius, they're going to find ways to break out of that cage, because they like to expand past their current boundary. That's what Sagittarius love to do. So if you're in a relationship with a Sagittarius, you want to give them the opportunity and just the atmosphere of knowing that they can be themselves and they can expand whenever they want to. Once you try to confine a Sagittarius, let's say in a relationship or in a contract or things like that, that they know that they cannot have the ability to expand from, that is when they're going to start to rebel and try to expand out of that situation. You know what I'm saying? So Sagittarius do well in jobs that they can be entrepreneurs and be their own boss because they can choose when they want to do things. Once you create a routine and a pattern for Sagittarius, they don't like that. That feels like hell for a Sagittarius or feels like prison for a Sagittarius. Whereas a Capricorn, which is right after Sagittarius, they don't mind that. They like routines, they like restrictions, they like certain boundaries because that's how they feel grounded in reality. You know what I'm saying? So different archetypes has different modalities and different personalities. So that's very important. Sagittarius, yeah, they really love to learn things that expands their mind. You know, keyword expand. As long as it's something that expand their mind and it's out of this world, they like that. Whether it's religion, philosophy, spirituality, whatever it is that is not usually something that is experienced day to day, that's what they like to do. Um in terms of, yeah, relationships, they like to be with people that like to experience things, whether it's experiencing different food, experiencing different locations, experiencing different type of activities. As long as there's a new experience, they don't like to do things over and over again and, mundane. They like to do new things, new experiences, new perceptions. That is when a Sagittarius um will gravitate towards you and will be attracted to you. You have to give them the space to be themselves and let them come back when they want to. Once you try to make a Sagittarius do one thing and see it this way, then they're going to feel like they're trapped and they cannot be themselves. So it's very important that you allow that Sagittarius to be free. When I say free, like if you're in a monogamous relationship, obviously there'll still be some expectations and rules and things like that. But you want to give them the opportunity that you're not trying to physically confine them. And if they do want to leave, you have to allow them to leave. And the more you give them that perception, that's will make the Sagittarius want to actually be with you even more because now they know that, okay, I have the time and space to actually go if I want to, but that's going to make me want to stay even more because you just created that notion that they can be free. And as long as they can see that notion that they can be free, then they'll feel comfortable in what they're doing. But once you make them feel like they cannot be free in what they're doing, that is when they're going to want to de-associate from that situation or that experience or those group of people or that person. A job, like I said, that a Sagittarius will be good at will be like, yeah, being an entrepreneur in whatever they're doing, whether it's um in terms of finance or art, like podcast or um creating clothes, selling their own brand, whatever it is that they can clock in and clock out whenever they want to and whenever they feel like it, that is when a Sagittarius will love that job. But if they're in a job that is the same thing over and over again and they don't have the ability and the power to be able to choose when they want to do things at certain times and not do things at certain times, then that Sagittarius will feel like they're trapped and they're going to want to escape and expand out of that boundary because every that's all they know how to do is just expand. So you want to create an atmosphere where they feel like they can expand freely without feeling like they have to be held back. You know what I'm saying? That is the archetype of a Sagittarius. They're a mutable fire. I forgot to say that, yeah, because we're at the end. So you got cardinal fire, which is Aries, you got fixated fire, which is Leo, and then you got the mutable fire, which is Sagittarius. And they're more like the grandpa of the fire signs. You know what I mean? They can choose when they want to initiate something and choose when they want to be the main character in something. And sometimes they might fall back and just allow everyone else to do their own thing. You know, they choose when they want to. And that is the greatest thing about Sagittarius. They like to do things at their own time and at their own pace. So yeah, guys, hope you guys gain something new from that. Sagittarius, I would say like their positives will be, yeah, they charismatic, they're funny, they like to express, they're very animated with their expression, they like to move their body a lot because that's a form of expanding, you know what I mean? Different experiences, different expression with the body, things like that. They might even be good at dancing and things like that because it's like the mutable fire. It's not fixated fire where you turn on the lighter and it's just like that, like Leo. And it's not the spark, which is the cardinal. It's more like the dancing fire where it's in and out. And that's how Sagittarius like to live their life. They like to be in and out. They like to do things at their own time and at their own pace. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, guys, hope you guys gain something new. We'll be talking about the earth signs next. And until next time, I'll catch you soon.